What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Lots to talk about. As you can see, we are now in our new location. We just recently moved, and there's a lot to talk about. But right now, let's get into what's going on with our boy Bender here. Lots and lots and lots of things have changed. Lots of things I got to update you guys on. But let's dive into today's video and get started with what we're doing today on Bender. Alright guys, as you can see, there's tons of things that we have done to Bender recently. Some of them I haven't filmed because we've been busy with the move and everything that's going on. So today we're going to dive into trying to finish our More Race Chassis 25.5 cage. As you can see, I've got a lot of it kind of all mocked up in here. Some of it is welded. The floors are all welded down here. I got to finish welding on the main hoop and the driver containment stuff, so that's what I'm going to dive into right now. But yeah, tons and tons and tons of stuff that has been transpiring in the past couple weeks here, but I'm excited because seeing this cage go in means that there is a lot of progress on this car. But I have to jump in today and get a bunch of it welded, so let's get into welding some of the cage up, and once I get there, we'll try and talk a little bit more about what's going on up here, because a lot of that is pretty much done. So let me get suited up, and I'm gonna get into welding. All right, guys, let me tell you about putting this cage in. There's a lot of tight spots, but the cage is in, and I've got everything basically welded as far as I can before we lower the cage down and then weld everything on top. But for the most part, the cage is in, and I got just about everything all welded up that I could weld. There's a couple spots that I could probably weld now, but I'm gonna start working on putting the floor back in this thing, because right now it's missing one. And the reason that is because we put the to do the 25.5 cage, you have to put a floor, and that floor goes right through a lot of the existing bracing on the floors. So I went in and we just cut it all out. Most of the time people will go in and stitch or put in a carbon floor or something like that. I want to try and put the factory floor back in it and look as factory as it can be without making it so overboard. I don't want to put a carbon floor in this thing, but go around here and I can show you that we got a lot of this in. Obviously I got the driver enclosure all done. Obviously all my bars are in. You can see that the floor is here, and it goes all the way across. Got my X in there, but it's a ton of bars that have to go in to make this all legal and certified to 25.5, which is good to 750s in the quarter mile. But now I have the difficult part of trying to get the stock floor to fit back in this car, because like I said, the structure that we put in, the floor structure we put in for the car actually goes through a lot of the factory bracing. So here I got my factory floors that I cut out. Obviously there are some odd cuts we're going to cut, and I'll notch little squares basically so that I can put patch panels in to butt up against the bar, because there's a bar that goes here, 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 back there, and there. But this is the top. I already went and cut the passenger side brace out and the transmission mount spot. Now, granted, that is going to take some of the structurability or the strength in the floor a little bit, but I will go in and brace the floor off of the cage part once we get this finalized and get it set in there. Also, when I make the seat mounts for the Kirkies that are going to go on this thing, I will weld a little tab that goes from the floor structure all the way through and then to the Kirky seat. So that actually is going to add a lot of strength back into that floor. We'll give it some support. You'd be surprised on, even though cutting that big structure out, how much strength is still in the floor. But yeah, so there's still a ton of stuff that needs to get done on that. But right now I'm going to cut that on the other side and try and get both floors in it tonight before we go home and before I end this video off. So give me a little bit. I'm going to jump into cutting both of my floors and trying to test fit them in the car. So let's get to cutting. Alright guys, so as you can see, I cut that little middle webbing out of the floor. Basically, the bars kind of go along like this up here, and they make an X, and obviously in the back. I also did cut the transmission mount bracket off of it because we actually have on the cage here, there will be a bar. They're basically going to go from like here over, and that will be the new transmission mount. So let's try and put both of the floor panels in for the first time and see how they fit. So let's get them bad boys in. Like a glove. All right, other side. This side fits actually surprisingly well. Like, surprisingly well. Now this is the tricky side because there's way more bars in my way. But see if we can go 2 for 2. What am I hitting? Something there. Just hold it. It's like it was meant to be. Oh, or like I cut it out of here originally. Great success. That is awesome. Bender's got floors in it again. Woohoo! We've got floors. All right, guys, check that out. This one fits all right, but then this side fits great as well. Obviously, there's going to be some trimming and things have to get done to it. Obviously, I'll have to make plates. I will make the plates that'll go there to make that, to seal that up, obviously. And on this side, we have the same kind of little issue here, but for the most part, Bender has floors back in it for the first time in quite some time. I actually tore this thing apart almost a year ago now, and with everything going on with the shop and being busy and all that stuff, it's nice to see progress on this car because it has been a little delayed for the most part. But again, when business comes first, and so here we go. This one is getting closer and closer. So I'm basically going to leave you guys there. Again, follow along with us as we build Bender, our 2,000 horsepower S197 drag and drive car. But yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all the fun things, and we'll catch you guys in the next upload.